The syllabus breakdown. 1. Strategic context for business analysis. We will start by exploring what strategy is all about. What's the point of a business having a vision? Think of a vision like a company's North Star. It guides all decision-making and future direction. For instance, if a local bakery in Liverpool says its vision is to become the go-to spot for sustainable, zero-waste cakes, that gives them a goal to work towards. You'll also learn how to analyze both the internal and external environment. For the internal side, this could be looking at the bakery's operations. What's working well? What's not? On the external side, we'll look at things like market trends or competition. Finally, you'll be able to prepare a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and use tools to measure performance, which could be anything from customer feedback surveys to profit margins. 2. Analyzing and managing stakeholders. Next up, we'll focus on stakeholders. What does it mean to engage stakeholders? Basically, you want to keep everyone who has an interest in your project in the loop. This could be customers, employees, or even suppliers. We'll use tools like the stakeholder wheel to help identify different categories of stakeholders. For example, if you're working on a new app for a retail chain, your stakeholders might range from the marketing team to the customers who'll use the app. You'll also get hands-on with the catwalk technique to analyze different perspectives. If your stakeholders have conflicting views, this helps you identify and address those differences. For instance, a finance director might care most about cutting costs, while the marketing team might be focused on brand impact. Lastly, y'all learn to categorize stakeholders by their power and influence and develop the right management strategies for each. 3. Analyzing the current state. Now, let's talk about where a business currently stands. How do you figure out the company's current state? We'll explore different methods to research the business situation, including both quantitative and qualitative techniques. Quantitative data might be sales figures or website traffic stats, while qualitative data could come from interviews with staff or customers. We'll also cover the advantages and disadvantages of these investigation techniques. For example, surveys might give you broad insights, but interviews can provide deeper context. Finally, you'll use tools to represent the current business situation like process maps or flowcharts to show exactly where the company is today. 4. Establishing the target state. Once you know where a business is, the next step is figuring out where it wants to go. Here, we'll focus on the business activity model, BAM, which breaks things down into 5 key activities. For instance, if we look at a coffee shop, the 5 activities might include sourcing beans, making drinks, marketing, customer service, and financial management. We'll also explore the idea of a consensus BAM. This just means getting everyone to agree on what activities are most important to focus on. You'll also learn about the 3 types of business events: external, internal, and time-based. For example, an external event could be a new competitor opening nearby. An internal event could be staff turnover. And a time-based event might be a busy season like Christmas. Lastly, we'll touch on using a target operating model, TOM, which helps you plan how the business will operate once it reaches its target state. 5. Designing and defining the solution. Now, on to finding solutions. Well, start with the stages of design thinking. This method encourages a more creative approach to problem solving. For example, if you're working for a tech company, you might start by empathizing with your users. What do they really need from your product? You'll learn about the use of divergent and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking helps you generate lots of ideas like brainstorming, and convergent thinking helps you narrow them down to the best options. You'll also explore the gap analysis process, identifying where a business is now versus where it wants to be in feasibility areas to assess if a solution is actually doable. 6. Developing a business case. Finally, we'll wrap up with how to develop a business case. Why is a business case important? Well, imagine pitching to a potential investor who will need to explain why the change is necessary. Outline the costs and benefits, both tangible like increased revenue and intangible like better brand perception. You'll also learn how to identify risks and explain how those risks could impact the business. For example, launching a new product line might bring in new customers, but also risks alienating your existing ones. Lastly, Well, look at financial appraisals and how the business case fits into the overall business change lifecycle.